Hi guys, Monique here. I guess I'm gonna read a letter that I wrote to the judge the day after that they removed the children, and I don't know. I guess it just explains my position and. Anyways, it's part of the story, so here we are. Dear Judge Haynes, we recently wrote you a letter requesting that the Department of Child and Family Services release my 4 children. I know that you may only have just read my previous letter, and I'm sorry if I'm being overwhelming, but every minute that goes by needlessly without my children seems like an eternity, and I am mind, body, and soul entirely overwhelmed with crippling devastation. If we inadvertently broke a law or a verbal order, sir, it was purely unintentional. I was only doing what I thought was well within my rights to do, which was simply request that my personal conflict with another adult stay amongst the adults. I did not feel like Joy Akins from the CSCT program was setting aside her personal feelings when dealing with my children, and her interactions have been questionable at best. Therefore, I requested that my children be removed from her program. This was not an attempt to isolate my children, as they are seen by multiple professionals on a weekly basis and go to a public school. My children continued to go to school every day after our first, second, and third request, as it was also never my plan to remove them permanently from the facility, even though I do believe it amongst my rights to decide to homeschool. If I wanted to, I'm gonna. After months of continued discord and the forcing of my children to go upstairs to her program even when they refused, she told them that they had to. Joy Akins called the CPS and recruited Rhonda Harris to her side so that she could get her way. With both ladies telling me that it is not within my authority to make this decision for my children, I then began to do a little digging into our case, hoping to find some answers. I found that there was still no written order, granting an extension to the TLC. I've been asking the CPS about this order for 5 months. Our previous TLC had expired in November. It's now April, or it was when I wrote this letter. They continued to tell me that they had it. Rhonda continued to tell me that she had it, but she just could not produce it for me. You can imagine how upset we were to find that still, and once again, we were being lied to by the department. We then began to ask questions and attempted to assert our rights, or what we thought were our rights, I guess. Apparently I have no rights. Right? We felt that if the department didn't care enough about our case to even have a written order issued for the last 5 months or to request a contested hearing, then how could they tell us that we could not have our children removed from a simple school program? We understand from what we read that they were pretty much allowing our case to time out, but yet the school and the department were both treating me as if I had no parental rights. I only kept my children out of school in order to gain the attention of the superintendent in hopes that someone civil might treat me civilly. I got just that. The next day the superintendent called me, and I got to explain my position to him and what was going on, and he explained how these things are handled and would have someone look into our rights. I thanked him for his time and was pleased with the solution. So you see, Judge Haynes, that's all I was asking for, and my children would have returned to school the very next day. But it was too late by then, as Rhonda from the CPS came and removed my children from our home again. My babies were immediately all in various states of emotional distress as they screamed and cried for their mother as they were being dragged from their house. Even a neighbor came over and helped Rhonda drag my devastated children to her vehicle. Anyone could tell you how happy my children have been, and that we were doing a wonderful job, and that this is incredibly psychologically damaging. This is not in the best interest of anyone. I was not trying to be non-compliant with the CPS. I just felt that Rhonda, and especially Joy, could not tell me that I couldn't make this simple decision for my family. We were clear about what we were doing and why. A letter had been delivered to the principal and to the superintendent, and all we were asking for was to just have our parental rights taken more seriously. This is a case of bruised ego amongst adults, and it should have stayed amongst the adults. This is retaliation, because we decided to make a stand and say no more. Plain and simple. And I thought that we all had personal rights to protect us from such retaliation. If the situation could have been fixed by simply calling a meeting and hashing out who does and who doesn't have the authority to be making these non-life-threatening decisions for my children, then why did the CPS decide that it was better to kidnap my children? If this wasn't retaliation for the assertion of my rights and the letters to the department and school, then what is it? If these children were in no danger and there was no incident even involving the children, then there was no need to traumatize our entire family once again by forcing us all to relive our worst fear and nightmare for no reason but for a simple dispute between adults. My children do not understand what's going on. None of us do. And it will be hard to ever trust anyone, especially the CPS again, because we're all old enough to know that nothing warranted this forced removal. Please, sir, it's been 2 days already, and the CPS won't even let me see my kids. I've done nothing to deserve this except assert what I thought was my rights. And if you tell me that it was not within my right, then I will gladly eat dirt back under the heavy boot of the department. But if this was within my right to just simply have my children removed from a program that I myself enrolled them into before even the department's involvement, then, sir, the fault is not with me, but with the professionals that have decided that they don't need my consent to do as they will with my family. I was just trying to protect my family. I'm sorry that it turned into a nightmare, as that was never my intention. I'm not sure if the Department of Child and Family Services can say the same. Thank you, Monique. It's been hard, you know? I can't believe that we live in a world where they can just come into your home and take your children from you, and that we can't fight back. And when we do fight back, we get looked at as volatile, uncooperative. They've said so many nasty things about me because I got angry and upset that they were taking my children from my home, that I was grieving and my heart was broken. And they used it against me. They used my grief against me. And it's wrong. It's wrong. If you should be allowed to feel about anything, it should be your children. If you should be allowed to fight for anything in this fucking world, it should be your goddamn children. And it should never ever be looked at as volatile and negative. Like, they're my whole entire world. Absolutely everything that makes me me. I've built on the shoulders of those children. I was nothing before them. I don't even think I was happy. I didn't know what love could feel like, to be loved like this. Like, they don't care. They don't care how weird I am or how strange I am, or, you know, like, they love me. And nobody else does. And why would you take that from someone? Why would you take that away?